Hey everybody, it's Paul. How are you doing today? On today's little Paul's Pondering Thoughts, or better known as Oops, Am I Thinking Out Loud, I want to go down the rabbit hole of LuLaRoe. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to name the title of this at this point, so I'm just going to do a little backstory here real quick. I went through this obsession with watching what I call like disgruntled LuLaRoe employee videos, and basically these were women who were coming on and giving my story, and I was so fascinated watching it, and I don't want to make it sound like I was getting light out of their issues, because I think the issues they were describing were real and serious. Mostly looking at it in the way of, a mass exodus happened with this company. And, video after video after video after video, it was the same story from people. And you just had to stop it a second and say, how is this company in business? How does this even work? So that caused me to start looking into it more, so on and so forth. And what I saw just really surprised me. So I just kind of wanted to take y'all on this little deep dive here. Now, again, I have never worked for LuLaRoe. I don't have any really super close acquaintances that have worked for them. So, again, this is not a video to expose them or give insider information. This is just me kind of, doing one of my thinking out loud type things. So, like I said, I would watch these videos, and I would actually go through. One thing I like doing is watching the ones of people who were signing up, like, they were still working with them and selling, and then people who were like, oh, for it, and they were coming on to expose, LuLaRoe. So let's just get on the same page with them, though, real quick. So, and kind of start there. So now, basically, it depends on what side of the fence you're on, but it's a multi-level marketing company. It is what it is. They sell women's clothing. They were made famous for their leggings. Now, I will say that I have friends who wear LuLaRoe. People, especially the earlier product, they swear by those things. I have felt leggings and I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. Trust me, I get it. Now, it was founded in like 2012 by Mark and Deanna. Deanna, I believe I'm saying her name right, hopefully. And right now, honestly, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, just, full transparency, to get some of these little facts about it. And then I pulled up some other stuff, because I also want to talk not just about LuLaRoe, but some other companies like this. So from the outside looking in, this is what I think happened, real quick, before you even keep going. LuLaRoe basically exploded. It became like this cult following, and they were not set up for that growth, and it crumpled the business, number one. Number two, they got really shady along the way. Here's my thing with a lot of this stuff, and especially in this day and age, because there used to be a time, and we'll talk about this, and I'm thinking Mary Kay, things like this, of, because at this point, basically I'm like this, why is this the only way to buy these clothes? If they're that good and they're that amazing, why aren't they in stores? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? The best customer for them is the recruit. That's the whole thing. Yes, you have the end user buying this, but so much is put on the recruit. Well, everything is set up to be able to exploit that recruiter. And so, because I can tell you the tactics they pull with the recruiters, if you pull that with the general public, which is essentially what they did eventually, and it was one of the reasons. Now, they're still in business, so when I say it brought them down, my take on LuLaRoe is it is short-lived. I'm recording this in August of 2019. I just can't. They should be shut down from what I have seen. So, anyways, pardon me. So basically, they start off going, everyone loves it, the structure of it, the sisterhood, the whole 9 yards, and things are going up. And some of the videos, these women are busting their butts and making tons of money, tons of money. But each level, the downline and stuff like that is dependent upon, okay, and I'm just going to do layman terms here. I have a few people under me. Well, I get bonuses from them as long as they ordered this amount of clothing. And those people under that, I'll get bonuses from them as long as they ordered this amount of clothing. So everything is always built on order. And that's not to say at that point that you couldn't make this money. You know what I mean? Because the cases that I was seeing, it was like, oh my gosh, it was insane. And so that's going on. And people are making money, Well, at some point, something took place in the structure. And, and again, if you have worked for them or if you're one of the people I'm talking about, please drop your comment down. Tell me your experience. I would love to hear it. I would absolutely love to hear it. I would love to talk to somebody one-on-one about it. So, hit me up. But I'm going to go over real quick a few of the things. So early 2017, a class action lawsuit was filed by customers who basically it was about them charging tax where sales tax didn't need to be charged. So there was that. Dropped their Better Business rating to like an F. In October 2017, basically another lawsuit was filed about them being a pyramid scheme. And unfair business practices, stuff like that. January 2018, the National Down Syndrome, they had worked with LuLaRoe. They pulled because one of its top distributor people mocked people with disabilities on some kind of live stream. December 2018, one of their chief clothing suppliers sued them for close to $50 million. February 2019, all these new complaints were coming forth about the product, this and that. I don't know about what time it happened where some kind of transition took place where people, these distributors and stuff were like, we're getting packages and they smell like mold, they have holes in them, just stuff that if you ordered something and you were like, you got this in the mail, you'd be like, is this a joke? And then you called the store, like say you got it from Macy's, whatever, and the drama that they put you through, you would be like, it would be unheard of. Well, that's what they were doing to these distributors. They were making it they were selling a shoddy product. So, and that's what took place. And so it started this mass exodus. Now, at this point in time, also, there's other companies that are competing and doing this type thing. And it is what it is. So that's going on there. So now so that's a quick little just overview here and there. Let's talk about the business model. Now this is where I was like, what? Are you kidding me? So to get into it, and again, this could change. I'm going to throw these numbers out here. If you've worked with them and know differently, please let me know. But you basically have to buy into this. You buy your product line, whatever. Well, that is around. It's like $5,000 to $9,000, depending on what you get. And when I saw that, I was like, what? What? $5,000. And essentially the storyline that I keep seeing over and over and over from these women is that their upline, their whoever, their mentor, whatever, is like reinvest. And this makes normal business sense 101 is I'm in business, I'm selling a product, I've sold some, let me get more. I mean, that's normal. And an issue that I think that takes place with these pyramid schemes is they use common business sense logic, but it is buried beneath their pyramid scheme rhetoric. So, for example, it is common sense that if you want to make money off selling a product, you have to buy said product, sell it, and then get more. If you offer one product, you're not going to get as many sales as if you have 5 different ones. This is obviously. But telling someone that they have to drop $5,000 and then they don't really get a choice of what they get, that was the part that blew. I was like, what? You didn't even get to pick out what? That's where I'm like, how? That blows my mind. It blows my mind. Because another thing that you continually see with these people is they're saying, okay, I got my thing and it had a few good prints in it, and then all these crappy prints that nobody wants and I'm stuck with. Buy more. And this, you see where this starts going. And so that's where it's like, that's not normal. That's absolutely not normal. Also, the shame the the manipulation into what's your fault that you can't sell, things with pig patterns on them, leggings with pig patterns on them. It's your fault that you can't do that. You're inadequate, and that whole thing, because what happens is it becomes cultish. And another thing that I saw was that these people get kind of, and I don't want to say sucked into, but sucked into this whole situation, because first of all, it looks like a cool club to be in. I mean, when I see that bonding between people, I'm like, who wouldn't want that? That looks amazing. I would want part of that. And and I saw this a lot come up where people were like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and and I can have my own business, and yada yada yada. I see how it happens, but I guess what upsets me about it, and I mean, again, I'm not invested in it, is, sorry about that, is the fact that the manipulation. Because, all that, well, you got to buy $5,000 to get in this club, and then we're going to hit you up again and again and again. And these people like, oh, well, go do this, go do that. Now, take everything aside. This is my thing also. Now, so I have have I been in a multi-level marketing thing? No. Have I? No, I have not. I mean, I've been to parties for some and stuff like that, but I am going to tell of a situation where I went and started to go down this path with something. And in fact, this is a good time to tell it. What the part we're going to discuss here is having the personality to do this. So there are some people that are natural born salespeople. They have this ability to transfer their energy to you and make you want to buy something. And it is what it is. So when I was younger, I've had people tell me that I'm like a really good salesperson, yada yada yada. This is my own take on myself. I think that in certain situations I am, but like being a cold salesperson, meaning cold calling, things of that nature, absolutely not. If I know the product inside and out and believe in it, yeah, I could probably sell it to an Eskimo, but who couldn't? So there's that. But when I was younger, 20 years ago, I was so desperate for a job, oh my gosh, and I saw this thing, and it was for like a talent scout or something like that. And this is before the internet was like a huge thing. And I went to this open job call, and as soon as I got there, I was like, ugh, this has this feel to it. And, but I was like, let me see, whatever. And so basically what it was like a website that you would buy into their service, that they promoted you to talent agents, stuff like that. So there's that. So during this day, they're basically saying, like, this is, how you work your way up to the thing, and da-da-da-da-da. And they were going to form teams, and it was your job to go out and recruit people that day to try it out. And you come back, and basically this was their let's see how it works type scenario. And then they do an interview and all this stuff. So I stuck around because I was bored, honestly. But right off the bat, I was like, this doesn't seem right. And so we did all that. And yeah, they broke us into teams, and we're like, okay, y'all go out and get, y'all are going to go out and do this. And so our team, I believe, decided to split up. I can't remember what we did, but we decided to split up in pairs. And I think even a couple of them never showed back up. And even our team, they were very weird. Everyone had this weird vibe about it. And so we went out to lunch, and and I got the waitress. I did that, and I felt guilty because you were basically like, hey, this is what you had to do. You had to be like, hey, you could be a model if you're interested. Here's an open call. Here's my card. Just come. Give me your first name. I don't need your information. And this is where you show up to. And so, and that's what they did. And you would get some kind of whatever when they compare the names. Well, first of all, I was like, isn't this illegal to we're not even working for you and you're sending us out here to do this? How often are you all doing this and churning people in and out? And, they did the whole phone call with the top people talking about sales numbers and, all this stuff. And so, anyways, we went back, and I think that was the only person I got for the day. Well, there were some people there who were like, I did 30 people. I got 30 names. And I'm like, how did you do that? And so for me, I was like, I'm not somebody who can just go up to a stranger and start selling them something that I think is a scam, personally. So, there was that. So I was like, I don't have the personality for that. Now, if you put me, like I said, in some kind of a a store that I believed in the product and someone came through? Absolutely. So there's that. So one thing that I see common in these LuLaRoe things is you see some people where you can just see them and be like, you're not a salesperson. This is not your gig. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude, but it is what it is. I can just tell through watching your video that you're not someone who probably needs to deal with the public. And whoever sold you the situation should be highly aware of that. And shame on them for doing this, because you're not going to probably do well with a situation like this. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Not all of us are cut out to do different things. You know what I mean? So that was one of the things that I saw. Then when you start seeing the devastation that this company left, which was, people paying off massive amounts of debts. Some of these, Vice, if you're familiar with that, they did a couple of docs on LuLaRoe and following some people that were like, I was a top seller, now I work 2 jobs and stuff. And it was sad because these women, the common theme was they seemed to be with the company when it was on the up and they were making tons of money doing this. And now they're in debt and working at Grubhub to pay off bankruptcy and things of this nature. And, they were talking about the aspect of almost being addicted to the adrenaline of it, to getting a sale, to being live streaming. But they also talked about you were busy nonstop doing this. And I saw that as a common theme because one of the big things is, make your own schedule, do this, do that. And these women are like, I work 24/7. I work 24/7. And they also all had tons of clothing. Just an obscene amount of clothing because they're encouraged to keep buying. And that's the biggest thing that I see. At this point in time, I just feel like, look, if this stuff was that great, and I think you're not only just buying the product in situations like this, you're buying the friendship, the club, the this, the that. Well, I think that people get into it and it's just this awful, it ends up not going well for them, especially at this time, because when you oversaturate a market, and I'm sure that LuLaRoe, who isn't going to take anybody that has $5,000 in their hand? Come on. I'm sure they sold to everybody. Well, then when you have all these people that aren't selling stuff and they're getting rid of stuff left and right, and you're trying to sell yours at full price, it's not a cute look. And, LuLaRoe did something with, okay, well, we're going to take back no questions asked, but none of their return stuff ever seemed to work. Ever seemed to work. And so it was just this complete nightmare. And that's another thing where I'm like, you should be able to return products. And let me rephrase this. There's two, because I also do not believe in just a uniform, it doesn't matter, you can return something 20 years later, because I think that the cost of goods have gone up by people ripping off systems like that. But I also think that, if you get a damaged good, absolutely. If you're sitting here and you have an entire box of stuff with tags on it, you've never done anything with it, and you want to sell it, you're like, I'm done, let me give this back, and you get issues from that, I have issue with that. Why? If your product's that good, why? You know what I mean? It's frustrating. So, and again, this isn't meant to just rip on LuLaRoe, but to me, they're kind of the face of this stuff now. So another one of these companies that's like a praying type company is Mary Kay. And now I have not done deep dives on Mary Kay yet, but there was an article that came out, and I don't know where it was. This was it was a while ago, and basically people talking about the same type thing, how they were in debt, how it just destroyed their lives, this, that, and the other. And Mary Kay is something that was more of I can remember that growing up, that was a thing, the pink car and stuff like that. And I don't know if it still is, and I don't know, I've never used their products, but I don't know how their quality is. And so maybe there's something at this point that's Mary Kay's so amazing, it's worth going through whatever. But I can remember places that I worked where the Mary Kay lady would show up and hand out samples and and then women would be doing their orders. They were in it to win it. And so I'm just maybe it's great. Well, so I found this article here that kind of sums things up, and this is written by Helene Olin. And this was for Forbes magazine, and it's titled Mary Kay Preys on Women. And so she basically went to one of the parties, and she said, one of the most depressing evenings I've ever spent in my life was at a Mary Kay cosmetics shopping party. Now, I'm not going to read her whole article here, but one thing I want to say about it, I'm just going to read this one passage here. And again, this is in Forbes magazine by the writer Helene Olin. When I arrived at the designated party site, there were only 4 other women present. The newly minted Mary Kay seller was nervous. As she applied foundation, lipstick, blush, various eyeshadows, and mascara, she mentioned a bit too frequently that it was for sale. You could feel her desperation to move the merchandise. When the time came to make our purchases, all of us attendees looked at one another out of the corner of our eyes and, one by one, purchased a few items, clearly feeling obliged to do so. It was like giving money to charity, but without getting the benefit of the IRS tax deduction. I mean, right there she has summed up the general vibe of a lot of these situations. You know, it's this guilty, because let's be honest, how many of us have a friend that sells LuLaRoe or something? I mean, we see them badgering us on Facebook, whatever, all the time. And that's where a lot of these companies have now switched, is to social media. And I mean, and you see them, I mean, I have all these obsessions. You know, I love watching the pearl parties, all these type things, and some of it I'm not gonna lie, it's like cringe watching, you know, and some of it's like I like the energy of the person, so to me it can be interesting. But a lot of the times these goods are very inexpensively made and very much overcharged, and they are catering to honestly a lonely aspect of people, to A, have community, but B, selling a dream of financial freedom and this and that. When you get signed up for the dream, it's something like this party where, oh, well, only 3 of my friends showed up. None of them want to do this. I've actually guilted them into doing it, and they're kind of like guilt buying a few things from me, and it just has this kind of sad vibe to it. And there you go. Now, some people seem to have this amazing network of people. They have this amazing, you know, personality, and they can just start pumping this product. Here's people who I've seen do well with certain products. Hairdressers, you know, hairdressers with Mary Kay, things like that, where you already have, like, say, an established customer base, and probably an established customer base that's using it, and you're not pushing that product on them like it's just there and they happen to buy it, you know what I'm saying? But you can do that with any line at that point. So there's that. I could keep going in on this, you know. I mean, I literally have spent an unhealthy amount of time watching this stuff, and like I said, I have this obsession with cringe watching a lot of stuff. I'm not going to name specific, you know, channels, obviously, but some of it's just, I just watch. I'm like, what am I watching? Why am I watching this? Why am I sucked into this? But the biggest thing I see is, like, for the user buying stuff, it's a sense of community, especially with social media, you know, of having these friends to hang out with. Obviously, the person selling this stuff is trying to make money, and some of them, it appears like this person should be making a lot of money. You know, they have a great personality. People are buying this stuff. So, you know, I'm not trying to say that all these things don't work out for people, but I just think that there's a lot beneath them that, you know, are shady and don't work out for a lot of people, and they have a lot of very questionable business practices. I personally can't believe that LuLaRoe is even still operating. I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't even understand how. There's too many other places that do the same thing. And, you know, so we'll see in time. So I'm going to go ahead and end this now because it's going to be a long video. I don't want to bore y'all. Again, drop me a comment in there. Have you sold LuLaRoe? Do you like selling it? Did you have a bad experience? Did you have a good experience? Do you sell Mary Kay? Have you been to one of these sad little parties? I want to know it all. I want to know all the juice. So drop it like it's hot down in the comments. And I will see you later.